It's Andrew Shack and Showtime. Andrew, ready? All right, I know
I
you.
am ready as usual. The rubber is going to hit the road in this show, ladies and gentlemen. You're not going to hear Jello or left wing or right wing political rhetoric. We don't do that here. We try to look at things with critical thinking and our society. I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of thought and production of thought uh, packages is reached the bottom. Let me talk about it a little bit, okay? Can I, Neil?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. We at present time there have been great advances in our society, in medicine, is true,
Right.
and in technology.
Correct.
Medicine has vastly improved for people. Before antibiotics, you got a cough, you got pneumonia, you died. Before uh, before there was surgery possible because of the things that made it possible, people basically had their legs sawed off and maybe they passed away. Maybe they survived. I didn't know. But things have improved in that respect. They have not improved in other areas, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to suggest the reasons for it. Let's take a look at what's going on in our society. Uh, there was a time where there was a lot of plays produced, dramatic production. George Bernard Shaw, Arthur Miller, very recently, Arthur Miller, Tennessee Williams. These are very recent productions. But looking at our society today, there's nothing. Not only is there no plays, there's no playwrights, or if there are playwrights, they're totally ignored and nobody goes. I don't know. And then another factor is take a look at something like poetry. I'm not saying you have to like these things. I'm saying they were integral parts of our system of intellectual and thought system.
Okay.
There were poets like T.S. Eliot, very recent. He was a recent guy. He was in the 30s and 40s, or relatively recent. William Butler Yeats, that's another one. And Ezra Pound. These people were part of the culture. Now, our present culture does not pay attention to these or doesn't have it. And I'm trying to suggest some reasons why this has happened. That we have, and this may not be true of the novel, not as much. People still write novels, but I don't think they're writing novels like War and Peace and that kind of thing. Those productions in the past had a popular connection. They were part of the culture.
Right.
People paid attention to them. As a matter of fact, it's a disaster. This is what I say to you, ladies and gentlemen. In terms of thought production, we have reached a point in which people don't have it, or they're not interested, or they don't get. The question is, do you want for your kids, ladies and gentlemen, do you want a culture of cell phones and emails? If that's what you want,
No.
that's fine.
No, that's the call. I mean, but that's see, again, Andrew. Well, let's just. Why is this hurting our culture? The
Okay,
technology world.
because obviously, for some reason or other, the kind of things that I just mentioned are not being produced. Either they can't get an entree into the system, the people who write these things, or they are not there. It's quite clear there's a problem, a creative problem of some kind. I'm suggesting one reason or a decline in religious belief. When the church had more appeal to people, I think it was connected with these kind of activities, religious belief. I think so. The church was always very much connected with our culture. Don't you think so, Neil?
Yes, and it's
It
not.
was. It was
Not
very much so. Until very recently. And when we don't have a spiritual connection in society, we end up with this.
that's
We end
based
up
on
with,
COVID-19 was the way it happened.
I guess so. But when we don't have a spiritual connection in the world, it turns into some kind of gray, somber, boring uh, uh, system. Look, I mean, these works are not being produced. Plays, poetry,
Right.
novels,
Right.
they're not being produced. So I want to know the reason. I'm suggesting one reason. And then I think it's also the system of education. I'm not downing technology. Believe me, it's great. It's improved. It has done improved things greatly for people. Things we can reach people all over the world easily. We can connect with people. We can have relationships with people of all kinds. It's a better world, basically, an improved world in many respects. But in certain ways, it hasn't improved. And those are the things I just mentioned. And one of the third is another reason, apart from the lack of spirituality or religious belief. I think religious belief produced a lot of great music, like Bach and Mozart. Those were composers were connected and wrote for the church. Uh, and so when the church was no longer a factor, well, I mean, I don't think people really think much about religion anymore, do they?
I wouldn't be that generalized, but I think people are forgetting it because they don't have it, and that they got to go and worship at church. Now it's taken away again based on the lockdown again. And I think that we're being bombarded with fear tactics and different things, and people are losing time to spend with God because they can't get in a routine where they can go out, go and
Well,
worship.
that's a
Go-
factor. They can't go. They can't go. But I think that also doesn't our society really moving away from religion?
I wouldn't say that unless you're thinking this quickly in the last 9 to 10 months, yes, but before that, no.
But it seems like a lot of forces in our society are anti-church.
I would say that it's just all based on this situation that's occurred. It has really had us forget about this because we've been suffering. We've been living through
Yeah,
challenges.
that's
We've not
true.
been able to be with people. We've lost lots of different things that we usually enjoy doing, staying in shape, working out. Yeah, you can work out at home, but it's not the same as going to a gym. It's not the same to go to a coffee shop and have a dialogue with people.
That's true.
All
Yeah,
these
I
things
like
are
I
taken away.
like personal contact.
All this stuff
I
was
don't
taken
like the
away. So
I
then
don't like this
right.
virtual kind of thing.
So would you really be willing and able, would you be willing and able to have a relationship with God as well if you're losing all those communications with people? People lead to praying
That's
for people.
true. You're
People
right. There
leave all these things.
is,
And this is could be the
but
utter
this has been going on
destroy.
a long time. People have been setting up barriers to personal relationships.
They
Quite
have, but
quite
this
quite
is
a
the
long
worst
time.
one, and this is going to not go away. We're going to see this in 2021. There's no changes coming in 2021. I'm sorry to tell you, people. It might even be worse than 2020. And we have to understand that fact, and we have to kind of just really reflect as a society and say to ourselves, what are we doing? What are we trying to achieve? What are
Hmm,
the problems? But as a moral society, the society has been destroyed in the last 9 to 10 months. You take away
right.
kids from going to school, you create stop routines for kids, you stop routines for parents going to activities, having a daily life and just some monotony of the
Right,
same
but
thing every
let me
day.
just put
Right.
this to you. I don't mean to interrupt you. I mean, because I value what you're saying. I don't really disown people in that way. But obviously, our society is not stressing artistic production,
But see,
particularly.
so yes, but when are people? We have to look
I'm
at
giving
what
you a reason. Another reason is the educational system in the past was a literary system. It had to do with books and poetry
they're
and
not educating
languages.
at all, Andrew. Now, so the last 9 to 10 months, it all goes back stemming to the 9 to 10 months.
You're saying it's 9 to 10 months. I'm saying it's a
Oh, it's
long-term
longer,
development
but guess
for a
what?
long
Now
time.
we're falling apart as a
Well, I
society.
don't agree with you. I have to say that I believe there are reasons for the lack of artistic medium in our society. With
That's
a
our education.
society without plays, without
They
poetry,
already got rid of
without written
classical
work,
education.
without artistic production, without painting. There's no painting. There's no sculptures. There's no
I
nothing.
don't know if that's no. We can have that discussion another time. Maybe looking at that at another time. If really that's true, there's none of those things. There are those things, but not
They
to
are
the level.
gone. They have been kicked out of
I
our
don't agree. I don't
society.
agree. I think there's still a very big
It is. It
push
is.
to writing.
We. This
There's
is.
a
This
very
is
big
not
push
a
to
society which stresses art or classical music. The last classical music touch of classical music was the Broadway shows. Those shows were great, and we have nothing on the stage today resembling that, resembling South Pacific, resembling Oklahoma, resembling Rogers and Hammerstein. We have nothing today.
but there's still
They do
people, but
revivals.
there's still people creating them. All right, Andrew. So that's what we
There's a
got.
problem, to me, there's a problem, an artistic problem in our society where we have no plays, no poetry, no classical music, nothing like Rodgers and Hammerstein, nothing approaching these kind of productions, which were very recent. There's a
Okay,
big
so
problem.
let's talk about it again. Classical education could be the reason. Maybe we talk about classical education on your show next week.
I did say that previously. That I believe that with the education stress that it produced these kind of people.
Okay. All
It
right.
produced the great writers.
All right. Shackinshow.com. Check out different information. You have your blog, you have your podcast, Blog Talk Radio, all that's in Andrew Shackin. And
Take a
Andrew,
look at my stuff. It's not that I'm not great. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a Christian person. I know I'm not great. Believe me, I know it better than anybody. And I'm not about to say to you or anybody, I know I'm a limited, fallen person. I am not great. That is for sure.
all right,
Take
Andrew,
care.
thanks for stopping by.
Right.